Welcome to St. Louis Presents. Steve, are we bothering you?
Oh,
You busy?
I was just trying to memorize my lines.
Okay, for this show?
Well, no. I'm in a play that opens tonight.
Okay.
Have you ever seen it? It's a Wonderful Life. You
Of
remember
course.
the old Frank Capra movie? Well,
Yes.
there's a stage play that's It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio play, which takes place in a 1940s radio studio, and about 8 actors are playing 40 parts.
And let me guess, you're Mr. Potter.
No, but that's what everybody says. I'm not old or
Steve
mean.
Potter's not Mr. Potter.
No, I play the radio announcer.
Oh, okay.
There's like 8 actors, and it takes place in a 1940s radio studio, so they're standing at the mics, holding their scripts, and we do a live radio play in front of an audience.
Well, how fun.
So I brought you a program.
Oh, thank you.
So you can read all about me.
I will.
But-
I will have to tune in.
This,
It is definitely, It's a Wonderful Life is a holiday tradition for me. I have to watch the movie every single year.
well, we open tonight at the Jacoby Arts Center, and we run for just 3 days, but it's really fun. But you know, it made me realize, being in this play made me realize something about Facebook. Because, you know, I put this on Facebook, and I thought that everybody I know would be so interested in what I'm doing, like if I put something about my career, right? So I get like 5 likes. But then, last week, I put something else on, and I have a picture from my driveway.
Oh, let's see this.
And it's something innocuous. I rented a dumpster, cleaned out my basement. I got 1 million likes and about 500,000 comments. I cleaned out my basement after 24 years and filled it to the brim. But this
How
is
about
more
that?
interesting than my career.
Apparently. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, but the dumpster does capture people's attention for
Well,
sure.
dumpsters aside, what have you been doing this holiday season?
Well, so far we did Winter Wonderland in Tillis Park, took the kids to the Botanical Gardens for Garden Glow. So those are two things we always try to do every year. Very wonderful. Well, I'm sure we'll come up with more things before the holiday season is over.
Yeah. Well, today, speaking of kids, we're going to talk to people from Hilltop, and they have a plan to help kids succeed in school and life. And being a mom, I think you can probably
Absolutely.
feel that, right?
Also, speaking of, feeding kids and taking care of yourself, we're going to talk about how to cook very healthy foods on a budget.
Huh.
Which I think we could all use help with cooking more
And
healthy.
nutrition is part of the important part about that, too.
Absolutely. And if you're concerned about the rise in the number of carjackings in the city of St. Louis, we have some expert tips from the police department on how to guard ourselves and be a little more conscious of what's going on around us during this holiday season, especially when you're laden with packages. So
Right.
all of that and more is coming up on this edition of St. Louis Presents.
Will you help me run my line?
Okay.
All right.
Since 1968, Lutheran Family and Children's Services Hilltop Child Development Center has been preparing children for success in school and in life.
And thanks to a recent expansion, they're now offering even more support through their new family-focused services.
Mike Duggar is here with us to tell us more about the new Hilltop Child and Family Development Center. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, first of all, where is Hilltop?
Hilltop is located in North St. Louis on the border between Jennings and the county, between the city and the county.
And how long has Hilltop been there?
Hilltop has been there for 50 years. So it's a
50 years.
well-established, we had the privilege of serving children and families in that community for 50 years.
When you say the community, is it strictly defined?
Well, we serve, most of our kids come from 3 different zip codes, so that's our catchment area. Some of it's the county, and then two of the zip codes are in the city.
How do people find your services? Are they referred there? Do they walk in?
It's amazing. We do no advertising whatsoever, and we have generations of families that bring their kids back.
You know,
to
Debbie and I
Hilltop.
on radio, we don't like to hear that.
So yeah, we do very little advertising, and it's amazing. The staff have done such a great job, and we've had such longevity with our staff.
Is there a point, though, when you say you don't do advertising? I think you're making a point.
Well, we are doing a good job.
Right.
We're doing a good job with those kids.
So one of the things that I noted was that you work with foster kids as well,
Yeah.
and I think probably a lot of people don't realize when sometimes it can be a tumultuous childhood of moving around, and then you age out, and then poof, you're expected to suddenly figure life out on your own.
Yeah, so the number of kids, right now we're serving about 5% of the kids, so we serve about 100 kids a day. Only about 5 of those kids are actually in the foster care system. So we look at Hilltop as really more preventative for those kids that are coming in. If you look at the families that we serve, 88% are single family households, headed by females, making $30,000 or less. So we really try to work with the moms and the dads and the kids to prevent those things from happening, kids actually going into the foster care system. So we do have some exposure in the foster care system, but really it's more preventative.
And it's true too, you know, I think what happens to a kid by the time they're 5 or 6, and this isn't 100%, but affects their whole life.
Absolutely.
So if they don't get it right young, it's even a more difficult uphill battle, I think.
Absolutely. We really started taking a look last year, and the conversion of what we're going through in the new programming. We looked at what can we do to impact the city of St. Louis. And if you look at just the reading proficiency when the kids get into 3rd grade, the state average is about 61%. The city of St. Louis is 34%. And it's even lower in some of the zip codes that we're serving right now. So we have really tried to look at how we can improve that, even though the kids leave us, and it's not until 3 or 4 years later. We want to stay connected to those children and families and provide support all the way through until they get to that point of taking that test, because we've got to get the kids prepared to learn, and they've got to know how to read before they can learn.
Being a parent is hard, no matter where you come from, and we all tend to, you know, we all kind of joke, oh, I've turned into my mother, or I've turned into my father. And hopefully when you say that, you had a great mother or father, but you know, it makes it even more difficult when you don't have a lot of resources to deal with. So what kind of things do you do with families to sort of help them parent better, I guess?
Well, the first thing is building that trusting relationship, because you know, some of the parents, the feedback that we received, they don't have a lot of those deep connections in the community. They, you know, they're sometimes scared to have their kids go out on the street and their neighbors. They don't have those people around them and the resources that we may have had growing up. So we look at how can we work with them on just building the relationship, staying connected, connecting them to resources. There's so many great organizations in St. Louis that we can help get them connected with the resources that we can't provide. But also parenting classes, prenatal classes, in-home services, mental health services. These are all the types of things we're trying to wrap around the family to make it more of a family focus.
I would think there's a lot of it one-on-one, because everybody's situation could be a little bit different, and you couldn't just have a big meeting with 80 people and tell them how to make their life better, because everybody's different.
No, the parenting class is more of a group class style. The therapy, of course, is one-on-one, and sometimes we won't have the mom and the dad living together, so we'll work with the dad individually, we'll work with the mom individually if we have to. But we also have kids that we're dealing with some issues. I mean, a lot of these kids are coming from experiences that you and I would look at and be horrified, and some of the kids are traumatized.
You mean just dysfunctional relationships?
I mean, violence, dysfunctional relationships. So we really try to work with those kids while we have them at Hilltop, but it goes beyond that. And we want our families, we want our kids to understand your zip code does not determine where you're going to go. And we want to make sure that our kids are prepared for SLU, WashU, Princeton, Harvard. And we want to cast that vision out to them as well so they can achieve it.
Let them know it's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we are learning so much more about trauma these days, because people tend to think of trauma as like one event in your life, but that repeated trauma daily just really impacts a child's development.
I see, you're cutting the ribbon there, huh?
We cut a ribbon to celebrate our reimagining of Hilltop and what we want to accomplish. Yeah.
Well, what can you use, or what would you need from the community as we head into this holiday season?
Well, we get great support from United Way, Urban League, Youth in Need. Our alderwoman, Pam Boyd, is absolutely a big fan of Hilltop. Right now, we're preparing for Seasons of Sharing. We want every one of our kids, 100 kids, to have gifts. So if they want to go to our website, find Hilltop, find out a way to contact us if they want to get involved in providing a good Christmas gifts for our kids.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, Hilltop, you see some pictures right there of, kids enjoying the holidays.
Oh.
Everyone should have a nice Christmas, regardless.
And a hat.
Yes.
And
so.
hat. I need a hat.
I need a hat too, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming and
Thank you
telling
so
us more
much.
about Hilltop, and we hope you
Appreciate
have a very successful Christmas season and another 50 years of success in the community.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, we need to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we'll talk safety and nutritious cooking. So be with us here on St. Louis Presents.
You want to know what city government is doing for you.
This is so fabulous for St. Louis. I mean, look at all the folks who are here. This connection that we have from downtown to the Arch is just fabulous. If you come through the doors right now, turn around and look back at this view right here of the old courthouse and downtown St. Louis. This has become the new postcard from St. Louis.
Check us out on YouTube, social media, and download the STL TV mobile app today on iTunes and Google Play.
Welcome back. You may have noticed an alarming number of car break-ins being reported in recent weeks around the region. Joining me now is Captain Renee Kreisman of the 4th District St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department to talk about some steps that we can all take to help protect ourselves. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, there have been car break-ins, but also carjackings that we're hearing a lot about. And I think that concerns a lot of people, maybe more than the car break-ins are annoying. The carjackings kind of are worrisome. If you had to guess, what are some reasons, Captain, that we've seen an increase in carjackings?
Sure, I think the biggest thing that everyone talks about and kind of across the nation is that the one thing that has changed with cars throughout the years is how the car dealerships, how cars are made today. So it's easier today, or not as easy today, to steal a car, and it's harder to get a car started once you break into a car. So the carjackings have become a more common way to steal a car.
So if you can't hotwire it, you have to wait until somebody's in it
Sure.
and pull them out.
Right.
Especially as we're heading into this holiday season and people have lots of things on their minds and they're walking around with packages, they're not necessarily looking around them as much as they might in some other situation. Would you agree?
Yeah, so I think, there's lots of things that you can do to help us and help yourself and help safety. Know where you're going, kind of know, there's things that you can do for your car beforehand. Don't keep anything in your car. Don't keep anything that a bad guy can see in your car. And then make sure that when you're somewhere, whether you're going to an event, whether you're going to a holiday party, whether you're going shopping, that you're parked in a well-lit area and that you know where you're going. Take a partner if you have a partner, if there's anyone that you can go with. But then also really make sure that you're paying attention. So when you're getting in your car or you're getting out of your car, make sure you have your keys. And one of the things that we really have to talk about in this day and age is don't have your phone when you're in your car. So when you're driving, when you're parking, make sure that you're not paying attention to your phone. And then when you're walking from point A to point B, same thing. So be aware of your surroundings.
Unfortunately, so many people have their faces buried in their phones
Sure.
all the time.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yeah.
we're not paying as
Yes.
much attention.
Yeah, so it's an important thing. It's an important thing to put your phone away when you're parked, when you pull up in front of your home, when you pull up into a parking spot. Don't be looking down at your phone. Be looking up and be ready to go to your next spot.
Well, and not just because you're not paying attention, but you're walking around with a $700, $800, $1,200 computer in your hand.
Sure, absolutely.
That
And,
is pretty tempting.
Yeah, I mean they're tempting. They're easy to steal, and when you don't have one, I mean you really in this day and age you really need one in this day and age.
Another thing that we're hearing is that so many people who have illegal handguns
Sure.
are getting them because they're breaking into cars and taking them out of people's cars.
Right.
Are you finding that that is true?
Yeah, we have weapons stolen out of cars almost every day, or throughout the week, almost every day. So we have, part of our Park Smart campaign is to make sure that you don't leave things in your car that you don't want stolen. So we know that it's easy to keep a weapon in your car, but we recommend leaving your guns at home, leaving a weapon at home. Don't leave it in your car if you know that you can't take it where you're going.
Now, I know that the police department, if they happen to be walking past your car and they
Sure.
see that you've left a bunch of valuables, you might get a little note on your windshield
Yeah.
reminding you
Yeah.
that that's not a good idea.
Yeah, we've used those for years, and we'll use them again this holiday season to remind people. And we just kind of leave a note. It's just a little yellow card. If you see a yellow card on your window, know that it's not a ticket, that it's actually just a friendly reminder not to leave things in your car when you have them parked, anywhere in the city.
Now, just when something happens that, like, somebody comes up and tries to rob you, or
Sure.
they pull a gun, or they want to take your car, there are people panic.
Sure.
You never know what you're supposed to do. So, what's your best advice for someone if somebody does approach them and wants to take their phone or steal the car? What are the steps that they should think
Sure.
about?
So lots of studies out there, lots of information out there, but the most important things to do is to make sure that you comply with their request. I know that you're not going to want to give something up, but complying and making sure that you do what they tell you to do.
Because in somebody's mind, they're always going to be the hero. They're always going to be like, I'm going to tell him.
Sure. So, but there's less likely for something more violent to occur if you give them what they're asking for. So make sure that you give them what they're asking for. Then make sure that you call us immediately after it occurs, because the most important thing to do for us after that is to make sure that we get those people in custody and a timely information. If you see a description, it can be a hard scenario. However, try to get a description of the person that has robbed you, and make sure that you get, if you can describe who they are, describe what they're wearing, describe anything that's identifiable. It's so helpful in our investigation.
Well, I'm wondering if this is helpful, because we have one of those systems. We have a Ring at our house, so it's a doorbell that has a camera and it records things, and we can. It's a thing in my neighborhood, and I'm
Sure.
sure all over the region, where
Sure.
you can send the video around the neighborhood. Have you seen this guy? Do you recommend those for people to get? Are those helpful for the police as well?
Yeah, we like the technology, so we use technology in almost all of our investigations, because there's so much more out there. So a good video, a clear video where we can see somebody, we can send the information out internally for us. We use our partners in the media to help us, sometimes push out information. We use businesses, residential neighborhoods, and then we have our real-time crime center that we use each day, to help us solve crimes.
All right. Well, hopefully people stay safe this holiday
Sure,
season,
yeah.
and I hope that it's a really quiet season.
We hope the same
for the
thing,
police
that's for sure,
department.
yes.
Well, Captain Kreisman, thanks for the tips, and we really appreciate everything that you and the department do for all of us every day.
Thank you.
All right, well, we need to get some news for you. There on the screen, you're seeing how to get just several ways to get a hold of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. And of course, they are on social media and online as well. And 911 if it is an emergency, of course. So let's get some news headlines right now from Steve Potter.
Thanks, Debbie. Assistance League of St. Louis is providing basic clothing needs to deserving children more quickly than ever, and that's thanks to the opening of a newly fully equipped closets in 17 St. Louis City elementary schools. Each school closet has new coats, school uniforms, jackets, underwear, socks, hats, gloves, and personal care products. Nearly 5,000 elementary school students will be served through this new model, and the organization hopes to expand to many more schools in the near future. You can find out more about Assistance League of St. Louis at alstl.org. We've already seen some bitter cold temperatures this winter season. And did you know that when nightly temperatures are forecasted to dip below 20 degrees or 25 degrees with precipitation, the City of St. Louis winter outreach and shelter operations go into effect? The city has partnered with nonprofits, volunteer groups, and various departments to offer increased outreach activities and additional beds available for those without shelter. Anyone seeking assistance should contact the St. Louis Housing Helpline at 802-5444 or the United Way at 211. Long before Miss Robbie Montgomery welcomed us to Sweetie Pies, she was backing some of the biggest artists of the 60s and 70s. She recently sat down with Ben Province on the set of Show Me the Music to talk about her journey, which has come full circle with the recent release of a new EP. Take a look at this.
That became
Tina
first,
Turner.
yeah,
So
first
you
hit.
really were there when Ike and Tina Turner started, like from the very moment.
Well, from that record on, I was there. I knew them because we would go over. Ann was singing with him as his lead vocal, his
I
female
had that
vocalist at
bronchitis
that time.
thing.
And then when he needed the girls, that's how we all connected. So I knew them, but Ike was already working around St. Louis. We recorded the record, it hit. So he offered everybody a job that wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I was one.
Yeah.
So I took the chance.
Yeah, and you went on tour with them for a few years?
Yeah, about 8 years I stayed with him.
Wow.
And then to continue to record after I left. I had been ICAT with a million other ICATs. And so we made a lot of records. We had a hit, Peaches and Creams, I'm Blue, and In the Midnight Hour. So we had, quite a few hits ourselves. We probably recorded 2 million songs,
Wow.
but only had a couple of hits, yeah. And then Ike recorded me as a solo artist, Robbie Montgomery, called Crazy in Love. And so I left ICATS after 8 years and went with Dr. John.
Show Me the Music's Miss Robbie Montgomery's interview is available now in its entirety right here on STL TV and on our YouTube page. And Debbie, I don't know what I like more about her singing or her cooking.
I know.
It's a close call.
Well, she is definitely multi-talented.
Uh-huh.
Well, Operation Food Search, speaking of food, is focused on ending childhood hunger and helps to feed more than 200,000 people each month.
But did you know that they also provide nutrition education programs? Joining us now is the manager of nutrition education programs. Please help us welcome Carmen Berry. Hi, Carmen.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here because I think eating healthy, nutritious meals is a challenge for everyone.
And year-round, not just the holidays.
Right, and it especially is challenging when you don't necessarily have the resources to go out and buy all these great gourmet healthy foods and fresh produce, et cetera. And I think that some people just find it's easier to make cheap processed foods to feed their family because those don't cost as much. So how does Operation Food Search get in there and sort of help people to traverse that difference?
So our nutrition education department, we're staffed by registered dietitians and nutrition professionals, and we teach multiple different programs. So one is a Cooking Matters program. So it's a federal program by Share Our Strength. It's a 6-week Cooking Matters classes, so they're learning hands-on how to prepare food, shop for food in the grocery store, and it's an interactive lesson. So each week kind of builds on itself. They learn about fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and how to make healthy foods. And how you said a lot of the highly processed foods and the fast foods are very popular because it's easy and convenient. One of our lessons is solely focused on like a convenience food makeover lesson. So they learn how to make healthy fast foods. So like whether it's burgers or tacos or Chinese takeout, they kind of learn how to make it healthier by using whole grains and fruits and vegetables in their meals.
Is that tough sometimes? I think it kind of depends on what you're used to. Like I grew up, we didn't eat a lot of fast food, and I don't like fast food today. But I know people that grow up on that kind of stuff, and it's just the opposite because that's what they're used to. So isn't it hard sometimes to teach people to be healthy when...
It trains your taste buds
Right.
to want very unhealthy
I want
food.
that wrapped up cheeseburger.
So that's a great point because we constantly run into that struggle with talking to people about choosing healthier foods because oftentimes they're like having a conversation about choosing whole grains. They're like, oh, I don't like whole grains. So when we're doing these cooking demos and the cooking classes, they're also trying this food. So it's like available for them to try, and a lot of times they're kind of surprised that they like the food. And then it's also that they're learning how to prepare it. So maybe they thought it takes too long to prepare, it's very hard to prepare, it's expensive to prepare it. So they're trying it and they're seeing how it's low cost, affordable, and delicious.
So where do these cooking classes happen?
So they happen all over the community. So we partner with different community organizations, like maybe different community centers and schools, and they are considered a host site. So they reach out to us. They recruit the participants, and we go with all of our cooking equipment. So we basically say we can teach a cooking class anywhere, whether it's like a park or a school, or even at Operation Food Search. We have an awesome commercial-grade kitchen, but it's really, we partner with those community partners, and they're finding the people in the community that are interested and in need of this class.
It can be a challenge for some people, right, depending on whether you live, I was going to say maybe just in certain urban areas, but it could be true in the country too. Like I live a block from a little market that's got everything. Some people live in what we call food deserts, and it's harder for them to cook healthy because they don't have some place they can get to easily and buy fresh broccoli.
Yes. So what's nice about the Cooking Matters programs for the adults and families and parents classes, they're actually provided with take-home groceries. So they learn how to prepare, like maybe it's a Chinese stir fry, and then we provide them with all the groceries that they need to take home. But then we do focus on lessons on how to find fresh foods and healthy options even in their grocery stores. So one of the lessons is a grocery store tour. So we take them to their local grocery store. Maybe it's a smaller convenience store, or maybe it's like a Save-A-Lot or a Schnucks, and we show them how to shop and look for healthy foods in their store.
I bet I know one thing that you stress. This is just my guess. Isn't this true? Haven't you heard, Debbie, too? The best way to shop in a grocery store is only walk around the outside.
The perimeter,
Yep.
yes.
Right?
That's actually a misconception. So if you think about, like, sometimes in the aisle, that's where you find the whole grain products and also a lot of canned beans. And canned fruits and vegetables are also a healthy option. So a lot of times people think only fresh produce is the healthiest choice. So we talk about how to find affordable produce can also be in the aisle. So it's looking for those low sodium or no sugar added canned fruits and vegetables, and even frozen fruits and vegetables can be equally healthy as fresh.
Just stay out of the cookie and chip
Yes,
aisle.
exactly.
Now, do you do cooking classes with kids too? Because I find that teaching kids to cook, my daughter said, "Oh, I'm terrible at math," but then I started making her cook,
Yep.
and she didn't even realize she was doing math and just doing a lot of other skills while she was actually cooking.
Now she knows how many ounces are in or whatever.
Well, you sneak it in, like
Yes.
you sneak in healthy.
Sneak in all those veggies. So we teach kids classes. We partner with a lot of after-school programs. So when the kids are after school and they're in the after-school program, we teach the Cooking Matters curriculum to kids. We also do different cooking demonstrations with kids. But one of the fun classes we do is a families class. So it's the parents and the kids together in the kitchen.
And one thing you address, and I think Debbie has a problem with this.
I do?
Yes, I've heard you talk about it. Debbie, it's holiday eating without guilt, right?
I have a lot of, yes.
But
guilt
that's something
moving.
you address.
Yeah, so one of our really popular cooking demonstration, nutrition topics this time of year is healthy during the holidays. So one of my big tips for people is to be that person. Bring something healthy to a holiday party. So bring some local fresh produce. So maybe things like apples and broccoli and winter squash. Those things are in season now. So they're lower cost and they're also healthy. So be that person, bring the healthy option.
Leave
to
the cheese
holiday
plate
party.
at home.
Yes. Well, no, my problem is I work in a place where food shows up all the time, and
Right.
there's always like ridiculously tempting stuff around. So
That's hard to do at work when it's.
it really
yeah.
is. It really is.
And also with holidays, a lot of desserts are very popular this time of year. So I have this awesome recipe that we do a cooking demonstration a lot with. It's called a black bean brownie. So it's a brownies with black beans in them.
Oh, there's a picture of them on the screen.
I love black beans.
Those
but
actually look good.
it doesn't have a bean flavor, does it?
No, so the beans are fully blended and it's like a smooth, fudgy, creamy brownie. It's
Ooh,
delicious.
so then
yeah.
it has a lot of protein in
It
it?
does. There's a lot of protein, a lot of fiber, and it has actually less sugar and less fat in there. That's what a lot of desserts are tend to
And
high
don't they
in.
make like a pasta-like things out of vegetables too now?
They do. So you can
Yeah.
use a spiralizer or spaghetti squash also is a really kind of an easy
Oh, I
way
have
to-
one of those. Yeah, you make little like noodles with
Yeah.
zucchini.
Yeah.
Those are really good.
Yeah.
Can I get that recipe
Yes,
from you after
so
we're done?
it is on our Operation
Okay.
Food Search blog. So if you go on there, you can find lots of recipes, but like our black bean brownie recipe will be on the
I
blog.
want a bean brownie bad.
I know. Okay, well, there's the website. So we're all going to go online and get that recipe and maybe hopefully many others too. But you can follow Operation Food Search on social media. Well, Carmen, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
sharing
much.
that information with us. And we hope that you teach many more people in our community how
Thank
to
you.
eat delicious, nutritious meals.
Bon appetit.
Yes, well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of St. Louis Presents.
We want to thank all of our guests and thank you at home for watching too.
Well, we'll see you next time right here on STL TV.
Bye.